Hi, and welcome to another episode of Nursing Your Way to Wealth, where a mental health nurse and an accountant talk about wealth creation, personal development, and financial independence in the UK to help you live the life you deserve.
Okay, welcome back. This is the first episode of Nursing Your Way to Wealth in 2025. This is episode 51. January is quite a long month. We've had Christmas, we've had New Year. So we thought we'd do something a little bit less serious, a bit less heavy. So if you are a regular listener, sometimes it can get like talking about money and investing strategies and stuff like that. It can get a bit deep and a bit heavy. So this is aimed at being kind of a lighter episode. So we thought we would ask each other, like Alex and I, will ask each other five kind of quick fire money questions. I'm sure we'll add some extra kind of detail to those answers, and we'll probably me will go off on a tangent or two. But Alex, is there anything else you wanted to mention before we start with the questions?
Yeah, so hi everybody, and I think just to mention that neither Alex or I know what the other person's questions are, so it's pretty much a really blind episode for us both, as we often obviously prepare before we start an episode and have an idea of what we'll be talking about. So this will be quite looking forward to seeing what could come up, and there may be some editing needed to make us sound more knowledgeable than we are. But
Yeah, possibly it could only be eight questions if we've both come up with the same thing. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, and we literally just said it before we hit record as well. For some reason, that vanished out of my brain. Yeah, so Alex has noted his five down. I've written my five down. We have no idea what the other one has written, and that is like 100% the truth. Purely because I've literally just written mine now. So he has no way of knowing what I've got, and I've no way of knowing what he's got. The only other thing, Alex, I'll mention before we start is I've been reading a book recently by a lady called Marianne Cooper, and it's called A Cut Adrift. It's really my bag around thoughts around money and what people do, what families do in insecure times. So it was written in 2014, so a lot of it's kind of aftermath of the
mhm.
2008 crash. And I wonder if they'll do an updated one for like the pandemic, possibly. But it talks about different ways people try and get security out of money and what they do and what they worry about. And one of the interesting points so far is that money worries and anxiety are present in every level of like wealth, like every level of earning and every level of wealth that you hold. What changes is the things you worry about, but that it still persists the more you go up. So when people think, "Oh, if I only had this much money, I'd feel better. I'd stop worrying about stuff." Actually, that research they've done suggests that's not true.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I read something. It sounds like a good book actually, so I'll have a look at that. I was reading some like I was listening to a couple of books and reading a couple as well over the last couple of weeks, and one was around like um frugality tips from like the Depression era, just to see how it'd obviously be
A
housewives
bit of light reading
making the
over
most of
Christmas.
everything. Yeah, but also one on called get the title. It one around like minimalism and it's called stuffocation. Um,
Okay, I've heard of it, but not read it.
yeah, living more with less, and they mentioned something similar in that around there is a bit of a marginal utility of money. So when you say if you go from 20,000 to 40,000 a year, you'll be so much that'll be really meaningful and really happy. And your increased happiness will be quite palpable. Whereas if you went from 200 to 240, that really has no impact on your life in terms of
It's a
happiness.
much smaller
So it's a
percentage, isn't it, of increase? Yeah.
yeah, and it's almost getting to the point where you can um, safely yeah, clothe yourself, feed yourself, you've got a house, be a bit of security. That was the part where money, if you like, can buy happiness, but then over and above that, it doesn't add much more. Um,
No, that makes sense. If you think about it from like, have you ever heard of Abraham Maslow? And he wrote Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
yes.
Yeah, so like the 20 to 40 will solidify your ability to do at least the bottom rung of that pyramid, whereas 200, you've already maxed it. You're way above that. Um,
Mm.
and the jump to 240, I can't do the math as a percentage in my head, but it's not a huge lump. It's not a huge jump, sorry. Whereas the 20 to 40 is like doubling up, isn't it? Um,
It is, yeah.
yeah, interesting.
But yeah,
So since reading Stuffocation, have you been getting rid of stuff in your house or not?
to be honest, I've always it kind of just confirmed my current way that I tend to live anyway. So I've never liked to have clutter or stuff around, and I'm quite ruthless with throwing things out or donating things. Um, so yeah, I like quite a simple living. I think it's something quite neat and tidy about that, and I don't tend to like to have so much stuff. I mean, I definitely still got things and things which
Yeah.
I don't want, but yeah, I've never been one to accumulate a lot of unnecessary possessions.
Hmm. I think I've been on both camps. I used to accumulate stuff and now I don't. And I find the less stuff I have around, the quieter my mind is.
Yes.
So I've got outsized returns based on that. I can sit and focus and I can think. Um, yeah. So my wife and I, we always like to have one shelf in in our house that's always empty. There's just nothing in it, and it seems a bit wasteful. Like at this point, it's a shelf in a bookcase that's just got nothing in it. And both of us like feel weirdly more comfortable from having that empty shelf. Yeah, I can't really explain why, but I don't know. It just does. It just helps. Yeah. Okay. Shall we begin?
Yes. Shall I?
Yeah.
I'm happy to go first with
Yeah.
my
Perfect.
first
Should we just go
question.
back and forth?
Yeah, I reckon.
All right. Fine. Over to you.
So my first question, that we obviously talk a lot about money on this podcast, but what would your money say about you?
Oh my goodness. Oh, off the bat, your questions I think are much better than mine. But what would it say about me? I think it would say I'm probably 90% measured with my spending and then 10% impulsive because I don't have lots of transactions and I a lot of them are very similar in
Yeah,
terms of they come from the same places, they go to the same kind of retailers, etc. And then every once in a while it's like bam, here's something a bit left field that's a bit different. But that's yeah, it's kind of what I think it would say. I hope it would also say that I'm on an upward trajectory, but who knows?
yeah, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good one. Okay, so my first one is again it's around the money and fire kind of topic, but can can anyone achieve financial independence, or do you think it's limited to just people who are high earners?
That is a good question. I think you need to have a certain level of income to be able to create a surplus between earning and being able to pay for a kind of a lifestyle. So I think you probably don't need, if you've been in a lot of the Reddit boards or listened to like some of the bloggers and what have you, you might think that unless you're earning six figures, it's off the table. And I think that's a real misnomer. I would say if you're on a kind of minimum wage or the living wage, that's it's probably not possible because you still have to pay for a place to live, pay for food, clothing, etc. Um, but as long as you can have a buffer between your lifestyle and your income, then I think it definitely is possible. And also, even if you currently
Hmm.
are on a low income, there are lots of ways to increase income. So I think it's definitely available. Yeah, so I think you can. There's probably I wouldn't want to put a pound value on what the right um, income level is, but where below you won't be able to do it. But I think it is doable, and it's definitely a worthwhile goal. Um,
Yeah, I would agree broadly for sure, but I think it depends on what you want out of life.
is that yeah? That's the other thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if you want to live in central London, it's going to cost you far more than living in like the top of Scotland or Southeast Asia, something like that. So it depends what you want to get out, and depends how much you need, and really how much time you have left,
yeah,
I suppose.
yeah. So that's my next question is what's been your biggest money mistake?
Uh Money mistake. I feel like I've probably made. Okay, so not necessarily a direct money thing, but it's cost me a lot of money over the long term. It's jumping into a university degree in criminology without thinking it through, and just mindlessly accepting student finance, etc. Doing the 3 years, moving cities like hundreds of miles apart, etc. And I'm still actually paying that back through my old student loan now. So that would be probably the biggest financial mistake. It's going to cost me tens and tens of thousands of pounds because I I didn't feel comfortable not doing anything, and I felt I had to be doing something. So I rushed into that decision. So I had something then to do. Whereas I think if I'd perhaps paused, taken 6 months off, and really thought about what I wanted out of life, I wouldn't have done that. But with that in mind, I wouldn't have moved to where I live now in Kent. Um, Probably would have never met my current wife, and I wouldn't be living where I am now, doing what I do now. So, in a roundabout way, it's worked out. But yeah, definitely the most costly decision I've made.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think in my mind, your those kind of questions, it's almost like, oh, I bought this handbag and it was a stupid idea. But that's actually a really, yeah, really pertinent one actually. And I think, yeah,
Yeah, I think it certainly cost me the most out
yeah,
of that. I mean, I've bought stuff that are like, I've bought a jumper that's too small for me, etc., and wasted that. But yeah, it's not. You're not going to waste kind of 50
mm,
grand on that, are you? Yeah, and I get reminded of it every paycheck as
yeah.
well. Yeah. Okay, so back to me for my second question. So you're walking along the street, and there's just you. You're walking home from work or something, or to work. You found £1,000 on the floor. You and you can't give it back. You don't know who's dropped it, where it is. You can't find anyone else. There's no one else around. There's literally just you. You cannot invest it. What would you do with it? So you can't save it. You can't keep it. You can't invest it. What would you spend that money on?
Oh, okay. Um, well, I can't save or invest it. It would put a chunk against the mortgage, but if that's also out of the question, that's really hard. I don't know if I would. I, I might just give it to some friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I'm not able to do, if I'm not able to keep it, or yeah, donate some of it to charity or something. Maybe I'd spread it around. I probably wouldn't do it as one lump. It would probably be uh spread around to people that probably need it a
Yeah.
bit more.
No, that's good. I don't think I worded that very well. I think you've answered the question I wanted to ask you, but my wording didn't go that well for it. Okay, over to you.
Awesome. So my next one is um it's probably one which we may have covered already, but kind of two-parter. But when did you discover FiRe, and what was the main reason that kind of was so appealing about it for you?
Hmm. So I was probably about, I think I was 30 or something, about kind of 6 years ago now. Um, and the most appealing thing to me about it was it it changed what I believed, like what I believed was possible. Because I was always brought up and I learned this narrative of you get educated, you get a job, and you work, and then you retire, etc. And you have to follow this kind of um, laddered approach of first you do A, then you do B, then you do C. And I just realized actually that there are other ways around it. That you don't have to follow this strict line of things. And retirement, I think people misjudge it and they think it's an age where it's a number. As we've said, it's a number in your finance portfolio. You don't have to wait until you're 60 something. And it just changed how I viewed the world. And I then thought, if I can get this done, I'll have so much more free time to do what I actually want to do, which is not grafting 8 to 10 hours a day at work. I think it changed fundamentally what I believe to be true.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is I completely I'm with you. I think for me it was such a completely changed the way I look at how I operate within the world. And I completely get the thing on the yeah, retirement is a amount of money you've got, it's not an age. Um and that yeah, that for me was also quite a big
Mm.
a big step change. Oh yeah, I don't have to wait till I'm 70 or
Yeah, it's
68 or
huge,
whatever it will
isn't it?
be
It's lit.
to finish.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I remember exactly where I was just sitting at our dining room table, and I was for some reason I was just reading money blogs, and I can't tell you why I was doing
Mm.
it, and I just stumbled across the Mr. Money Mustache article, and then I sat there and I was just sat back in my chair, and my brain was just like boom.
Yeah, because I'm with you. I was similar, and I think it's for me. It's actually doable. It's not reliant on setting up a business and that being successful or do it like or working for another 40 years. It was like actually it's achievable, really realistically quite soon, in the grand scheme of things, and it
Mm.
was really yeah similar to you in that.
Yeah, like it becomes palpable, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because if when you're like 20, you can't imagine what you're going to be like when you're 65, but you can probably just about figure out what you might be doing when you're 30,
Mm.
35, and that's much sooner, so it's easier to think about, and I just think it makes it that more
Yeah.
tangible if you're bringing all of those dates closer, and it really has changed my perspective on life, certainly money, especially around work, and the more I've learned about it, the more, not freedom, but the more free I feel, like the less weighed
Hmm.
down. Um, yeah, it's just massive, massive mental returns, I would say.
Yes. Cou- Couldn't agree more.
Okay, number three from me. So, um, what's the most important thing you've learned in finances so far? If apart from obviously that it's doable that we've just covered, if you had to single out one particular thing about kind of finances in general that's the most important, what would you say that is?
I think it's two things which are kind of linked, but it's like discipline and consistency. And I think having the discipline to almost know where your money's coming in and out, and having the discipline to stick to a budget or stick to investing a certain amount every month, and then consistently doing that. Because I find uh, when you say start investing and it's a couple of months, your accounts don't do much, and it's kind of okay, it builds up a little bit, but it's very easy then to because nothing much happens. It's quite easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to go spend my money somewhere else. But I think having the discipline, sticking to that, and
Mm,
consistency, like month after month after month, you then look back in 3, 4 years' time, it's incredible how much all that discipline and hard work and consistency pays off. And so I think that for me has been it's the behavior for me is the most important thing because I just see it as almost if you almost set up a bit of a funnel or a process every month, and as long as you've got the discipline to put in as much as you can into investments or your savings or paying off debt or whatever you want to be doing, um, sticking to that and being disciplined and consistent is the way to do it.
mm. You're certainly going to see kind of outsized returns, and it does worry me for the coming generations that a lot of it's kind of instantaneous, instant fixes,
Mm,
instant gratification. When and that's why they're probably going to fall foul of like get rich quick schemes in one flavor or another. But it's yeah, I think this. I didn't expect you to say those things as concepts. So yeah, that surprised me, but it makes perfect sense.
yeah, and I just feel it's that the behavior is the for me is the most important thing, and obviously compound interest that goes without saying.
Yeah, of course. And it can't compound if you don't put it there in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, my turn now. Uh, so my fourth question is, what was your earliest money memory?
Um, hmm, it's really difficult because I didn't get pocket money when I was a kid. Um, so I didn't get anything kind of like that. I wonder. That's a really good question. I'm actually racking my brains. It's either one of kind of one of two things. So I know I've mentioned this before, but like when like we'd go grocery shopping, I'd go with my mum and she'd put her card in the kind of chip and pin machine when they were back and new and fancy and whatever. And I thought she had as much money as the numbers on her card, which is trillions and trillions of pounds. It would either
Yeah.
be that as a money memory, or actually like something more tangible would be after school. My brother and I would always go in like a corner shop on the way home, and like as we got older, our mum would give us a couple of pounds each, and we'd go in and buy whatever we wanted. And we used to buy football stickers, and I used to have work out if a packet is like 10p and she's given me a pound or whatever, I can then get 10. And I
Mm,
wonder if it's that, because sometimes he'd give us like an even number, other times it would be like whatever change she had around, and I had to work out how many I could ask for. Sometimes got it right, sometimes got it wrong. But I think it's that as a tangible thing of having the money in your hand,
yeah.
handing it over, and then getting something for it, and doing a little bit of maths in my head. And I'd have probably been, I want to say 8, 7, something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Were they the football stickers and was it like the match
Yeah,
books
yeah.
where you
You'd have
used
the
to
whole book
put the stickers
for
and the
the whole
players?
like Premier League, and
Yeah,
you'd have
yeah.
every team, and they'd all have badges and players and a stadium sticker and stuff. And yeah, I spent a lot of change on those. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I remember those quite
yeah,
distinctly. And then did you have to go to school and then you'd have like there'd be say a couple of kids that needed say like one or two stickers and they'd trade
absolutely. Like
dozens of their
trading
own
football stickers was
like
a
old ones for
huge
it.
pastime when I was in
Yeah.
like year 5, maybe year 4, year 5, something like that. People would come out like have pockets full of football stickers and books, and they would have the first like few stickers in their hand. They would be their trading ones, and then they would have ones that they would just have
Yes.
for unknown reasons and not put in their book. Um, yeah, no, I remember that actually. Really,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was back in the day when Man United were good, and if you had the shiny one for
Hmm.
them, it was great.
Yes. Ah, the good old days.
Yeah, yeah, when we had no responsibilities. That takes me right back.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting that you mentioned them. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, was that your question for or mine? Yours,
That
right?
was, yeah, that was my question.
Um, okay, so am I on question 4 or 5?
Question four.
4, all right, good. I'm glad you're kind of on the ball. So my questions are not in any particular number order. Um, okay, so yeah, number 4, I have. What was one thing you wish you knew at the start of your investing journey? So when you start initially thinking about it, if someone wise had come along and said, "Alex, this is a lesson I want to impart on you," what would you wish you knew at that point?
I think definitely don't. Well, it would be to definitely invest in index funds and to build up a solid kind of allocation of index funds before speculating on AIM shares in the UK, where you when you're because I remember I used to work in a canteen in a hospital and there was a guy in there who was a porter. He used to come in all the time and he used to trade shares quite a bit. And I was, bearing in mind, I used to earn like £100 a week at
Mm,
the canteen. And I invested a couple £100 in some different AIM shares and I started to research them and kind of not knowing what I do now, tried to pick the shares and like both of them went, um, yeah, completely tits up. And I lost my money. But that was I think it's that thing of just like have an interest in that, but don't put your money in that straight
mm.
away. Like just
Understand it first.
understand it and invest in broad index funds and just focus on feeding that index fund machine
Yeah,
um,
I
before
wonder.
starting to pick random pharmaceutical companies off the pink sheets.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you basically lost maybe 2 or 3 weeks' wages, like weeks worth of work at that point. So it would have been like a good chunk of money.
It was, yeah, and that was very much, yeah, like, I mean, I was a student as well, so I got a bit of student loan funding, but
Hmm.
most of I managed to, did quite well at saving some of that, but yeah, it was, yeah, weeks worth of work, yeah, a
Wow,
few weeks worth of work on,
down the pan.
Yes. And
literally.
so that was my introduction into investing. But I think I've only got better and know more now. So the way I see it is like you pay for the lesson,
Mm,
um, is the way I saw it. But you just almost wish somebody stopped my finger on the mouse and was like, no, no, just
yeah,
do this
I've been there. I've
and let it
learned
do.
it.
Yeah. So that's the immediate 100% the thing which
Mm.
comes to mind.
Yeah, I think for what it's worth, it's a cheap lesson throughout life for sure. Yeah, it's a few £100s, not massive scheme of things, but at the same time, the way the human brain works is we learn by our mistakes, but the most humans learn by their own mistakes. It's much, much, much harder to learn from someone else's error than it is to
Mm,
learn from your own. 'Cause you don't get the feelings tied to it.
yeah. I,
See someone else do something
I think that's so
significantly harder.
true. Yeah, and when you see the money like go from
Yeah,
a few hundred quid to, I mean, it was
worked in a canteen for
a
weeks for
fiver.
this.
Exactly, and I think
Yeah,
you feel it then, don't you? There is that then connection between the
yeah,
lesson and the gut feel of like, oh God, I just lost all that.
yeah. And
Uh,
I've worked for ages, hours and hours.
and then like, right, yeah, research and
Yeah,
well, build up a base before you even begin to think about doing that.
yeah, but you didn't do it again. You learn from it. It's you're not repeating the same mistake for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, over to you for number five.
Cool. So my last one is a bit more of a fun one, but if money was no object, what would you buy?
And I can buy anything, anything at all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really difficult. It could be one item. It could be something. I'd want it to be like world-changingly good. Um, what what would have an outsized return? Okay, if money was no object at all, I would buy probably mosquito nets for everyone who lives in a country with like the bad kind of mosquitoes, the malaria-filled ones. Um, yeah, I'd buy tens of thousands of those and ship them to wherever
Mm,
they needed to be. Yeah, I think it's just got an outsized return, and it reminds me of
yeah,
something I
nice.
think
Good idea.
a chap called Dr. Daniel Crosby said. Um, I've heard that something like that before. He said he would buy mosquito things, so I borrowed that from him. But I think I agree that it's got a huge return potential. And if I've got unlimited amounts of cash, I would definitely do that. Yeah. Oh, shame I can't ask you the same thing. But yeah. Okay. Um, I could ask you the same thing. Honestly, my fifth question's not as good as yours. It's clear you've put a lot of thought into your ones, and I haven't. Okay, fifth one for me.
Oh, I think your
Hey,
questions are good.
oh really? Oh, I literally just thought them up before the show.
No, I like them. They're
Oh,
good. Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay. Right, last one. If you had a button, like a magic button, that gave you £10,000 every time you pushed it, but someone somewhere in the world gets a horrendous migraine every time you push it, how many times do you push the button?
Can I choose the person that would have the horrendous migraine?
No, it's random. You have
No.
it could be you,
Ah,
possibly, but it's
could be
unlikely.
me.
But it could be you.
Oh, that's a really tough one. I guess morally you would never push it, but I don't know how many times I would until I got to five. So however many times that would be. But no, I don't know. I don't think I would push it. I'll go on the record of that.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, and that's what I expected you to say. To be
Yeah,
honest, I don't think I would push it as well. I'm not about causing people physical pain anywhere at all. Um,
and
but
unless it was like in some horrible cells in prisons or stuff like that,
then you'd
where
push
people
it.
have done
Yeah,
horrible things, then I'd go mad with it.
you
Yeah,
can't pick it.
but
I'm afraid. Could be anyone. Anyone
could be
from
anyone.
the King of England to the I don't know the President of Kazakhstan or whatever, or anyone in
Yeah,
between. But imagine pushing it and it being you.
yeah,
Horrendous. You'd never push it. Well, would you push it again if it happened to you? Because
yeah. I reckon I could get some
what are the
decent
what are
medication.
the chances, right, of you have it getting it twice in a row? Very unlikely.
One in 9 billion.
Yeah, maybe you're likely to push it again because you know it can't happen to you. Who
Yeah,
knows? That's like an existential moral quandary. It reminds me of something Daniel Kahneman would experiment, something like that. It's like a moral.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's been kind of 10 quickfire money questions. I don't think our questions were too similar, to be honest. I was fully expecting us to have very, like, similar sounding things, but no, yours were very good. Thank you for thinking them up. Is there anything else you wanted to mention for episode 51?
No, just if anybody's listening and either has a question or wants to answer our money questions, then please feel free to drop us an email.
Yeah, do it. You can come on and ask us, both of us, 5 questions each, or five questions that we'll answer both together, if you would wish. Yeah. Um, hmm. Oh, so that's good. All right, Alex, thank you for your time, my friend.
And yeah, likewise.
I hope you had a good Christmas, New Year, and wedding day. And I will see you next week.
Yes. See you next week, everybody.
None of what we discuss on the show is to be considered financial or health advice, and we recommend you always do your own research or consult an independent financial advisor or a doctor when making your financial or health decisions.